A very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 17th August 2020 days, Monday. I'm sure you all have enjoyed your weekend. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote. Don't let your mind bully your body into believing it must carry the burden of its worries. What happens is that when we worry, we are not just damaging our thoughts, but when we worry, we are also our mind, or you can say our physical brain is releasing some sort of chemicals when we worry, and these chemicals are not good for our body. So when we worry, what we are doing is we are burning out our body as well. So being concerned about something is okay, but being or a bad habit of worrying too much is very bad for our body as well as for our life. With this difference, today is the last day for this Independence Day sale that is going on all our smart courses. To find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile app. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my Telegram channel. In fact, it is already shared. And today we have variety of topics from various different newspapers. The first one is about Prime Minister Modi's speech. The second one is about Middle East, Israel and UAE. Now we have talked about this particular topic last Saturday, but today I have some add-ons. So we are going to talk about those new points. Then we have two articles on health, right? Digital health or health ID. We are going to talk about it in detail. And the last one is about contempt of court. And then you have some few headlines that are important for you guys to go through. On your screen, you can see Prime Minister Narendra Modi's photo, and he is addressing our country here in this picture. This photo is from 15th August 2020, Independence Day speech from Red Fort. Now, Prime Minister talked about twin challenges, two of the biggest challenges that our country is facing today. The first one is, of course, COVID-19, and the second one is LAC issue with China. Prime Minister Modi has assured the nation that we will win in when it comes to this twin challenges. We will hopefully get rid of COVID-19, and hopefully we will get rid of this Chinese aggression as well. Now, one thing that I personally like about Prime Minister Modi is that he talks about those taboo topics as well, like menstrual hygiene or menstrual cycle or periods, right? This particular thing is a very healthy thing, first thing. Second thing, that it's very natural for, girls or women of certain age bracket, if they see periods, or if they are going through a regular menstrual cycle, then that's one of the most natural as well as healthy thing. But unfortunately, in our country, and it's not just in our country, there are various different countries, various different societies where this is a taboo topic. Things have changed quite a lot in our country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has talked about it, and then we find so many other celebrities, they have talked about it, and nowadays people are talking about it, and so it is not that big taboo topic now, but still, it is considered, it is there, right? We cannot completely say that this is not a taboo topic in our society. So Prime Minister mentioned menstrual hygiene as well in his speech, which is one of the most important thing. He talked about sanitation as well. He was the first Prime Minister in the history of our country to, he talked about this open defecation. He talked about, not just talked about, but he was also cleaning streets. Remember? He was cleaning the beach as well in Tamil Nadu when he was supposed to meet during his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping back in 2019. So these are just a few reminders that he has talked about all those topics that were not talked by, or no prime minister has talked about this sort of topics in history or in the past. So that's a good thing. He talked about sanitation. He talked about drinking water issue. The big thing about it may sound a very small thing for many of us that why drinking water? But the thing is, in our country, there are so many people they suffer from so many different diseases because they don't have access to clean drinking water. The Government of India has launched a Jal Jeevan mission that seeks to provide piped drinking water to every home. And Prime Minister also talked about expanding networks of electricity, one of the most important thing. Like based on electricity, if you have access to 24 by 7, 365-day electricity, then you will have, or you can run your television, you can run your mobile phone. Internet is possible if your village or your area or your state has 24 by 7, 365-day access to electricity. Then internet is important. Based on with this combo of electricity and internet, you get you can use banking, telemedicine, and so many other things. You can learn and e-education, and I can go on and on. And cooking gas is also very important for poor household. The reason why I'm saying poor household is because what happens, or so far what we have seen in various different parts of our country, that in poor household, a lady, she will have to leave her kids behind home, and then she has to go out in the jungle or in like forest area and collect, chop some wood, bring it back. It's a very risky thing, many a times because of safety, many a times snake bites and other things. And she cannot spend quality time with her kids as well as elderly people when someone is not well. She has to go to forest, not every day, then maybe twice in a week or maybe thrice in a week. But then as well, it's a very tiring job to collect wood, because you bring huge amount of wood back when you come from jungle or nearby forest. So cooking gas gives that quality time. You don't have to worry about going out for collecting fuel, like in this case wood. No pollution, good for your health, good for your kids as well as other family members' health. So it's like win-win, this cooking gas. So these are a few examples that he has talked about. Now, Prime Minister talked about National Digital Health Mission. He said that every Indian will be given with this digital health ID that links up all her medical records. Digitalization is welcome, but no substitute for inadequate human resources and infrastructure in health sector. Now, dear friends, we are going to talk about this digital health ID in detail. I have 2 articles on this particular topic. I want you guys to hold this point in your mind for now, that if we are moving towards digitalization, if we are going to have, let's say, a digital health account of every one of us, that's a good thing, no doubt about it. But that is not a substitute for inadequate human resources and infrastructure in health sector. This is the point that I want you guys to hold in your mind. I'm going to throw some more light on this one. He mentioned Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. Ambitious collective goals can inspire a community which must be increasingly inclusive as it progresses. What this article is suggesting in the end, that we need to build an egalitarian society where everyone is equal, and if the country is moving ahead, then everyone, it should take everyone along with it, like sabka saath, sabka vikas kind of thing. Let's move on to next topic, but before that, dear friends, please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion, and please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, on your screen, you can see one photo. The man on the screen, his name is Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, referred to as MBZ. He is the Crown Prince of UAE. Don't confuse him with MBS. MBS is Mohammed bin Salman, and Mohammed bin Salman is Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. MBS is Crown Prince of UAE. Now, MBZ is one of the most influential person in Arabian Peninsula. In fact, when MBS, right, I hope I'm not confusing you with this terminology. So MBZ is of UAE. When MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, of Saudi, if he needs some help or advice, let's say expert advice, then he will knock the doors of MBZ. So you can imagine how influential this MBZ is. Now, last Saturday, we have talked about Israel and Saudi Arabia, Israel and UAE peace deal. And if you are new to, if this is your first day, then I would reckon you guys to check out Saturday's The Hindu Analysis, right? And you will know everything about the latest, everything about, or basic things, as well as latest information about this part of the world. We are talking about Arabian Peninsula. So with UAE declaring official peace with Israel, Saudi Arabia will join the team soon. That's what we can hope, and that's good for the region as well. Now, this particular information gives us a ray of hope. There was a time when Indian Airlines was not allowed, or Air India was not allowed to use Saudi Arabia's airspace for a flight that is connecting New Delhi and Tel Aviv. But this thing was given a green signal by Saudi Arabia that you can use our airspace. So that was a first step by Saudi Arabia. And informally, the things that have taken place between UAE and Israel in recent past, they are official things, but unofficially, informally, things were going on. They were having a discussion with each other to find a way out. And one of the most important force that has led these countries, normally they are arch rivals when it comes to Palestine, but now we find that these countries are coming closer to each other because of Iran. Sunni Arab states and Israel have a common enemy, and that is Shia Iran. Iran's influence in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Syria, and even in Palestine has gone up. And this is a matter of concern for Israel as well as Arabian nation or Sunni Arabian countries. Now, we need to look this whole thing from India's point of view. It's a good news for India. The reason is that more peace in Arabic region or this West Asia, that means more stability. More stability means your fuel price is going to stay stable or it will come down. When fuel price is down, that's good for our country because we import some 85% of our fuel from international market, and a big chunk comes from this part of the world, the Arabian Peninsula. So fuel prices will stay under control. So we can have a more stable financial as well as economical situation. Whenever we find some sort of issues going on in this part of the world, what happens is that petrol price goes up or fuel price goes up. Fuel price goes up. That will increase transportation cost. That will make other things more dearer. Like everything, we use transportation for so many things. So if fuel price is going up, then it will eventually trigger inflation, and that is bad for our economy. So this is one of the most important things. When it comes to Israel, we have good agricultural as well as military relationship with Israel. When it comes to UAE and other countries, we have historical trading relation as well as personal ties are very good as well. So it's good for India. India is going to be happy about this whole situation. One assumes that official at the Ministry of External Affairs would be mighty pleased, more so given the recent meltdown of ties between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. Things are not going that well between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, and that's good for us because we want to create pressure on Pakistan, and in future we can open these avenues of better intelligence as well as military cooperation with other Arabic countries as well. So that's everything about this particular topic. Now let's move on to two interesting topics. Both of them are about health, right? One is from Indian Express for better health, and the second one is from Hindustan Times. Embrace the National Digital Health Mission, but with care and safeguards. So let's start with this one, for better health from Indian Express. Now, pay attention here what Prime Minister Modi said. Every Indian will be given a health ID that will work like a health account. So this health account or this health ID will have every detail of your disease, the doctors or doctor you have visited, the medicines that you are taking or you used to take, everything, right? The diagnosis, your test, lab test, and other things. So it will be like one place where it's like, in your, when you buy a car or when you sell your car, then you have your service history. In the same way, this will be like a sort of account where we will have one ID and everything will be in it when it comes to our health. Now, this is going to be a game changer. The reason I'm saying this thing is because I imagine a world where in our country I imagine our country where if we, let's say, God forbid, but if we have anything like COVID-19 or any other thing in future, then we will know exactly which age group or which people are getting or who are the most affected. Because when you see COVID-19, one of the main reason for mortality due to COVID-19 was comorbidities. And unfortunately, if you see in last 15-20 years, due to lifestyle, NCDs, that is non-communicable diseases, have increased in our country. So many people suffering from diabetes, blood pressure, and then there are other things as well. So this is very common these days in our country. It used to be a very rare thing. Diabetes was a very rare thing, but it is a sort of household disease in our country today because everything is because of lifestyle. Late night work, not getting enough sleep, not taking any sort of walking or any other physical exercise, and using motorcycles and other luxurious items around us. So because of all these things, NCDs are very common these days. Obesity is a very common thing these days. So those people who are suffering from or are going through some sort of comorbidities, it means COVID-19 means getting out of COVID-19 is a big thing for these people. We need to correct some of the medical sector's long-standing problems as well, and this thing can help us. If in particular area we find so many people suffering from a particular disease, then we can create those sort of special hospitals in that area, isn't it? Or we can create some camps that will educate people, create awareness. But for that, we would need some sort of data. Now, Government of India is trying to create a patient-centric system, which is not bad at all. But as I told you, we need to keep that point in mind that digitalization is good, but that is not a substitute for the things that are most important. First of all is doctors as well as nurses or overall medical staff. When it comes to doctor population ratio, our country is in a very bad state. One doctor in 1,450 people. When it comes to WHO's recommendation, WHO recommends that we need to have one doctor out of 1,000 people, or 1:1,000 is WHO recommended ratio. Our country's ratio is 1:1,450. Poor state of primary healthcare centers, particularly in villages and towns. The core building blocks of the National Digital Health Mission, NDHM, is Health ID, Health Facility Registry shall be owned and operated and maintained by the government. Government will look after our data. So that will boost confidence in people to share our medical history, and government will use government will pass this data to private operators, but this will be not for profiteering. This will be for, let's say, some sort of research or some other things. Our consent is going to play. Means if you say no, then that's a no, right? If you think if you don't want to share your data with any other people, then you will have that choice. That's what this article is saying. And I hope if everything goes like that, then that's going to be a good thing. We need public-private partnership in identifying, in learning some patterns about some sort of diseases, research for research purpose as well, public research as well as private research as well as both. So, and we need competition as well between public and private players, so that eventually this partnership, this research, this competition, all these things will eventually help people, right? It will help citizens of our country. Patients can choose the document they want they would like to share, with whom and for how long. The country's data protection law is still in work. A few days ago, we were talking about this thing. Remember that data protection and how things are going on, and still it's all about controlling rather than using it properly. And we raised this question like, why after this LSE issue, we started this whole analysis of Chinese apps. Why Facebook and Amazon, if they are facing some sort of scrutiny in USA and they are working, no questions are being raised against FB and Amazon in our country. So why? So we raised this question because data protection is still work in progress in our country. We don't have any proper data protection in our nation. Embrace the National Digital Health Mission, but with care and safeguards. Now, this will greatly facilitate telemedicine, this health ID, e-pharmacy, collection, consolidation, interoperability of health data, and so many other things. One thing that I like about this is a person living in rural India, he or she, without stepping out from her home, she can get all that consultation. What happens these days is that, big hospitals are available only in our city area, isn't it? See here. Advanced healthcare expertise is concentrated in large cities, whereas a large population with no healthcare needs is geographically distant from such expertise and facilities. So, if you are living in a city and if you want to visit this particular hospital, then what you will do is you will give a phone call and you will book an appointment and you will be there hopefully at right time, and then doctor will see you. For a person who is living in a village, right, he will have to travel. He will have to take one day off from his or her work, and then you need someone to accompany. If it's a lady, then you need your husband or someone with you, and then you will visit this place. You will leave your village early morning, and when you come back, it will be evening or maybe night as well. So your whole one day. Here, a person living in a city, it may take, let's say, traveling to a hospital, coming back, maybe 2 hours, right? Here, one day. But if you are on telemedicine, then it will take just 15 minutes, because what you do is you book an appointment with doctor, you pay, doctor will see you. If doctor thinks that you need to take or go through blood test or something, then on the spot you can book a blood test appointment. Someone will come at your home, collect your blood, process it, pass your result directly to doctor if you say, or they will pass it to you and you can pass it to doctor. Doctor will go through it and then he or she will recommend what you need to do, or if there are any sort of medicines that you need to take. So all this process, if you calculate, then it will not take more than 10-15 minutes, isn't it? And you don't have to step out of your home. So this telemedicine, this health account, all these things, when they will work in, let's say, in a good speed, right? When everything will be sorted, then we can imagine a world where this expert help, medical help, will reach to rural household, and that's going to be a game-changing thing. But that does not mean that we don't have to create primary healthcare centers at village level. We need to have those centers, of course. This is going to be add-on, and it should always be add-on. Primary healthcare centers should be best, or world-class centers should be available in each and every village of our country. That's their right. This is very important. Personal data, especially health data, is sensitive and privacy must be protected. We can use blockchain technology. When it comes to technology, we have these technologies, right? Blockchain is there. Then without your consent, your data cannot be shared with anyone. Whenever you want your data, if you have given consent to someone, and if you now want to stop that person using your data, then you should be able to do that thing. And you can of course show it to different doctors if you want to. So everything, your data will be under your control. And the data that will be used for, let's say, public good or for social welfare, that data will be anonymized. That means your name, address will not be there. Your age, let's say, if you are 23 years old, if you are a female, let's say, all these things, your height, weight, etc. This sort of weight, this sort of not weight, but this sort of data can be shared, but your name, your address, your photo, all these things will be kept secret. So this data will be used purely for research purpose, right? So no one can bully you, no one can harass you, no one can try to sell your products. No one will know if you are healthy or if you are going through any sort of diseases. That will be something that will be stay with you. So that's how it should be. And we can also encrypt data. All these technical things are there, which is mentioned in this article, but we know that we can distribute this data in various different independent servers. So if one server is hacked, then at least the rest of the data is saved, and the rest means whatever is hacked will not be enough for the hackers to make anything out of it. Now, good thing in this article is that we are embarking on an almost greenfield healthcare. Greenfield means we are starting from the scratch. So we can learn from other countries' mistake. We don't have to repeat that mistake, of course, and we can bring all our experts together and we can create something unique for our country. Moving on to contempt of court. The Supreme Court found Prashant Bhushan guilty of contempt of court for his scandalous tweet. Now, in a democratic society, every single public person or public office must be subjected to public criticism. At the same time, contempt law is also important, right? Contempt law or contempt of court law protects unnecessary allegation or protects court from unnecessary or you can say fake allegation. Many a times what happens is people will just say bad things about court, and even those things are not right. People will think, a common man will think that judiciary means he will lose his confidence in judiciary. So for that purpose, contempt of court is good. But the problem with contempt of court act, the problem is not with this particular thing. The problem is with the act. Section 2CI of the Contempt of Courts Act is very vague, is very expansive. So basically everything can be fitted within it. UK, that is United Kingdom, as gave up this thing back in 2013. Because they think, because from a democratic point of view, and because this was too vague and too expansive. When it comes to our country, right, still this thing is going on, and the sad thing is that it's one of the rare category of cases in which principles of natural justice don't apply. Because when you say something about court, or if you are saying something about a judge, let's say, then that particular judge or his fellow judge is going to look after your case, or he is going to decide your case. So chances of personal bias is we cannot neglect that. I'm not saying you will see personal bias, but what I'm saying is that is a matter of concern. This reminds us of this case in this article, House of Lords, in which spycatcher case, it's about UK spycatcher case, as part Daily Mirror. Daily Mirror used this picture and word that you old fools. It was about 3 judges. But the court said that if someone calls you a fool, then that is entirely based on that person's perception. It's not reality. Someone may think that you are a fool, but that is that person's perception, right? And some other person will think about you as being a very genius person. So it's all about perception. So this is like magnanimity of the court, and this article is suggesting that we need to do something like that in our country. Here are a few news items, dear friends. I want you guys to go through it, and that's everything from my side. Thank you very much for watching this video. God bless you all. Jai Hind.